Starfield is coming out this week. And with the release of a brand new game, we have a new discussion, which I knew was going to happen, but now it's finally here. And that is Starfield versus No Man's Sky. Now, these are both similar games, but totally different in what they're trying to accomplish. And today we're going to talk about it. First, let's talk about what these games actually are. Starfield is Bethesda's new space RPG where you're tasked as a miner to find artifacts across the galaxy. From starship fights to just regular gun combat, there's a lot to do in Starfield, and there's a lot to explore with the procedurally generated planets and galaxies. The options are limitless in this game in terms of exploration and really what you can find. From battling humans, aliens, robots, and everything alike, there are a bunch of different enemy types in this game, and it's very fun. To me, Starfield is kind of your run-of-the-mill Bethesda RPG. Now, to give a little background about myself, I am a long-time Bethesda fan. I played Fallout 3, 4, New Vegas, Skyrim. I played a lot of their games, and Starfield is definitely the most Bethesda of all Bethesda games because it just has that Bethesda feel that no other company can kind of recreate. As a game, Starfield offers a bunch of different things to do, such as base building, ship customization, character creation, factions, crew building, skill trees, resource scavenging, and amazing gunplay. I recently just got the game and I've already found myself getting lost for hours just playing and discovering different planets, interacting, doing side quests, which are really good, by the way. The side characters are really cool. The side quests are really Bethesda-like, if you understand what I mean. And it's honestly just a really fun game to play. Now that we talked about Starfield a bit, let's switch gears over to No Man's Sky. Now, just to preface a little bit, in this video, you'll be seeing gameplay of No Man's Sky VR, which is the same as the base game, but offers a different level of immersion compared to the base. Since I am a VR YouTube channel, I kind of have to show some VR gameplay. So this is the VR gameplay for this video. But let's get back to the point of the video. No Man's Sky is a game about exploration and survival set in an infinite universe. And they really mean infinite. This is also a game with procedurally generated planets that just give you a stupid amount of options in terms of exploring different galaxies and really figuring out the secrets of the universe. In terms of mechanics, it offers everything that Starfield offers. Base building, ship customization, character creation. There are different factions in the universe, crew building, skill trees, resource scavenging, and gunplay. It has pretty much everything. And these different creatures you can find on different planets. Fauna, it's just a lot of different things that No Man's Sky offer that are also similar to Starfield. So I can't see the comparisons, but there are big differences in both of these games. The first thing on our list to talk about in terms of big differences is the presentation. So Starfield presents itself as a big space RPG with a lot of side quests, a crazy main quest, and just a general vibe of this is a space RPG game. Now, don't get it twisted. No Man's Sky does have RPG elements, but as it stands, it is a survival game over an RPG. And that's why you can tell when you play the game that it's just really big, obvious differences in what they're trying to go for. Actually, let's take it an even lower step down. Let's talk about the actual space exploration part. Now, the actual space exploration in both of these games are extremely different. And I mean, it is nowhere near comparable other than the fact that you can actually be in space. In Starfield, you can fly around infinitely, like in No Man's Sky, but the pace at which you do so is very different. To fly to another planet in Starfield would take actual days to do. Starfield's space exploration is set up in levels. You fast travel from place to place, which could be a deal breaker for some people who have already played a game like No Man's Sky and kind of want that seamless fly from galaxy to galaxy. And honestly, I had to break myself out of that mindset when I played Starfield because it was just like, okay, teleport to this planet, teleport to that planet, teleport outside of this planet, and you can't even fly to the planet. But I was like, okay, this is a very complex game. And I can't fault Bethesda for not being able to do that because personally, the rendering and just the amount of resources it would take to get that off is kind of crazy. So I understand why they didn't do it. But in No Man's Sky, the way they procedurally generate the worlds is totally different from Starfield. And since we're already talking about space exploration, let's talk about the actual starship flying. Personally, I do think No Man's Sky has better flying of the ships. It's a bit more dramatic, but I do feel like No Man's Sky ships handle a lot better than Starfield's. Now, Starfield, you can't upgrade your ship, you can't build a better, bigger, better, badder ship, but I do feel like as actual space exploration vehicles, No Man's Sky kills Starfield in that aspect. Also, in both games, things do spawn in space. So like in Starfield, there was a space station that I found where I found a bunch of enemies that I could kill and a lot of resources I could get. And in No Man's Sky, there are random things that pop up on you in space, like pirates, and freighters, and a bunch of different other cool stuff that you can find while in space. I do feel that No Man's Sky handles actual finding cool stuff in space a lot better than Starfield because you can actually get around in No Man's Sky. In Starfield, there are a limited amount of things in your space you can get to, but that does not mean that Starfield space exploration in terms of finding cool stuff is bad. But if I want to fly to a different planet in No Man's Sky, I do have the ability to do that. And especially while I play in No Man's Sky VR, it's a lot more fun than being in the Starfield ship, just to be honest with you. So even the main points of the game and how they do it is just different. Now, let's talk about inventory management. The inventory management in Starfield is real Bethesda like. You have a weight to everything you pick up, and if you pick up too much, you run out of breath quicker and it's harder to get around. In No Man's Sky, you have a limited amount of space and only so many slots as you can put resources, weapon mods, suit mods, and all these other different things. But there is no weight count for your weight in No Man's Sky. Let's also talk about the story elements for both of these games. Now, since Starfield is a Bethesda game, it's gonna have a story. It has a very intricate story, and it also has a lot of side quests you can do to level up your character, to get resources, weapons, stuff like that. You know, real Bethesda like. On the other hand, No Man's Sky has a story, but it takes a back seat to the main draw of the game, which is the exploration, the combat, the resource gathering, the base building, and just, you know, flying through the stars. That has always been a criticism of No Man's Sky from a lot of people because they do feel like there is no true purpose to being in the game. And while I do find that fair, I do also find it unfair because it's a space exploration game. You're supposed to just fly around, discover different things, be amongst the stars. As a sci-fi fan, that's what I've always wanted from a game. That's why I love No Man's Sky. Starfield is just a lot more narrative driven than No Man's Sky. And there's nothing wrong with both approaches to the game, but there is a difference if you're trying to play something that's more story driven or more exploration driven. Okay, now what about the role playing aspects of both of these games? I do feel like Starfield takes a very good focus on making sure that you can feel like you can do whatever you want to do in the game. You can be a pirate, you can be a doctor, a scientist, you can do anything you want. And the game helps you along that path with set skill trees and these different perks you can get. While there are things you can focus on in the game, there are no set classes or anything you can really do in the game, to be honest with you. So if you're looking for something that is more of a role-playing game, Starfield is gonna beat out No Man's Sky for you every time. Now, what about gunplay? To me, Starfield is king in this over No Man's Sky because they do prioritize having a bunch of different guns, a bunch of different options, and a plethora of way to approach enemies. Since Bethesda has made shooters before, they definitely have the upper hand in this conversation. No Man's Sky's combat is interesting because it's not exactly bad, but it's not the best. It accomplishes its goal in allowing you to encounter different creatures you can kill, different enemies, pirates, and stuff like that. But it is not one of the main points of the game, so it's not very focused on. You can upgrade your weapons in No Man's Sky. You can buy bigger, badder weapons, but it's not one of the main things you kind of focus on in No Man's Sky. Personally, I do like the starship combat over the actual on-ground combat in No Man's Sky. Another main thing that separates both these games is graphics. My God, the graphics in both of these games are really good, but Starfield is next level. It actually feels like a next-gen game and definitely gives some of the better-looking games out right now a legitimate run for the money. The planets themselves in space look amazing. When you actually land on the planet, the actual environment looks astonishing. It's just honestly a very beautiful game. The characters look good. All around, this game offers a lot in terms of graphical fidelity. With No Man's Sky, especially in the VR version, flying around in space is very beautiful. Is it on Starfield's level? No. But since it is rendering a lot of things faster than Starfield, when you're actually flying around in that spaceship in VR, it's next level. And honestly, when I first saw it, it blew my mind because it looked great. The scale, there's real scale to the planets in No Man's Sky and real scale to everything that you can land on and the phrase. If you're looking for a more graphically intense game, Starfield is definitely the place to go, because you gotta realize No Man's Sky did come out in 2016, which is a whole different generation of consoles and PCs and stuff like that. But if you're looking for that true next-gen graphic experience, Starfield is your go-to. All right, let's not talk about the specifics of each game. So let's talk about which one is for you. Would you rather play Starfield or No Man's Sky? I feel like people who want to play Starfield, people who want a more story-driven RPG experience, they don't really want a true space exploration game, but they just want a RPG game set in space made by Bethesda. Starfield definitely offers a one-of-a-kind experience. I think a person who is looking for that type of experience where they can just go to these different planets without having to really worry about the space aspect are people who really want to play Starfield, people who just love Bethesda games. Like for me, for instance, I'm a person who likes both, but I love Bethesda games, like I said before. And so Starfield definitely hit for me because I'm already familiar with how Bethesda does their games, and I can see the innovations and gameplay that they have. The focus of role playing in Starfield is just very good and well done to me personally. And I think somebody who's looking for a more story-driven experience and not an actual space sim are going to lean more towards Starfield. Switching gears, a person who's playing No Man's Sky is looking for a more space exploration game. You want to see different planets, different fauna, different animals and aliens. And you're not really focused on the story, but you love survival elements in the game. You want to build a base of settlement and just have it in the background, or get a mech suit and do whatever you want on a planet and not worry about a story. And even if you wanted to do story stuff, you can do it in a loose way in No Man's Sky. So that type of person is looking for more of a true space exploration game with a lot of survival elements. In conclusion, both of these games are amazing, honestly, but No Man's Sky does better with the actual journey, and Starfield does better with the destination, which I think is the perfect way to put it. Both of these games have their own flaws and their own, areas, but each blows each other away with what they offer. So you really can't go wrong with either game. With that being said, guys, thank you for watching this video. This channel is growing at a crazy rate. I'm looking forward to the future of the channel. If you enjoyed this video, definitely let me know. It's my first time really comparing two games. I think I did pretty decent, but if you disagree or agree with one of my points, let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe also. And just remember, I'm just a dude with a VR headset. Peace.